Hello, and welcome back to Headspace Diaries, where we explore psychology and related sciences from a student's point of view. This podcast is purely for educational purposes and does not replace a professional opinion. Let's get started. Why do we overthink? What is overthinking, and how much thinking is overthinking? This is something that we've all done at one point of time, and it can make simple decisions feel overwhelming. Overthinking involves thinking about a certain topic or situation excessively and analyzing it for long periods of time. While some people think that overthinking may be helpful, research suggests that overthinking is associated with feelings of depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. We've all done it. We've all laid in bed agonizing over that presentation we have to give, or spent countless hours wondering what to wear. We've gone through every possible scenario before the doctor's office has returned our call, only to find out that we're all right. It was just a vitamin deficiency. Finding ways to stop overthinking can help you take action in your life rather than simply thinking about the things that are bothering you, and it can be empowering. I'm curious to know, what are the things that you overthink about? Is it your job, your relationship, your finances? What is stressing you out currently? Share your experiences with us by leaving a comment down below. Now, an important question to ask would be, how do we know that we are overthinking? And this is important because when we're in a downward spiral, being aware of our thoughts can be a game changer. An inability to think about anything else, being unable to relax, constantly feeling worried or anxious, fixating on things outside of our control are all signs of overthinking. So if you are feeling mentally exhausted and you're having a lot of negative thoughts and you're replaying a situation or experience in your mind, this might be a sign that you are overthinking or you're in the process of rumination, which is a repetitive and tough cycle to break. Neuroscience shows us that during the process of rumination, not only is there altered brain activity, but also an imbalance of neurochemicals in your brain, especially cortisol and dopamine that show dysregulation. If you go and seek help from a professional, they may use ACT, which is acceptance commitment therapy, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, or a mindfulness-based approach, depending on how severe your overthinking or rumination is. And there are several different themes of rumination and overthinking. It can be anticipatory anxiety over future events, rumination over past mistakes, or even health anxiety and symptom checking, such as if you get a small wound and you're immediately on WebMD, this can also be a sign that you're overthinking. Relationship overthinking is another type of overthinking. You can second guess your decisions, think of all the worst case scenarios, and these are all different signs that you are in the process of rumination. So what else can we do? What is going to help us when we have problems? And how do we think about our problems? The best way to think about your problems is from a problem-solving perspective. And overthinking is different from problem-solving. Overthinking is about dwelling on the problem, while problem-solving involves looking for a solution. So a problem-solving approach to your problems would be so much more productive. Example, if your job is on the line. Overthinking is saying, I wish I wouldn't lose my job. Why does this always happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? Instead of saying, I should probably prepare ahead and start looking for other jobs, or update my LinkedIn profile. Now, during overthinking, you'll realize that your brain just won't shut up. Especially this can be really disruptive to your routine when you're trying to sleep. You can be physically exhausted, mentally on overdrive, but you just can't sleep because there's too many thoughts running inside your head. And this can be exhausting. So there are different kinds of type thinking. You can have all or nothing thinking, which is a type of overthinking that involves only seeing situations in black or white. So instead of looking at both the good and the bad, you might analyze an event only in terms of being a total success or a total failure. There's no in between. Then there's catastrophizing. This type of overthinking involves an exaggeration of how worse this situation is. So, for example, you might fear that you will fail an exam, and this leads to worry that you'll fail the class, which will lead to failing school, and then this will lead to not getting a degree, and then you won't be able to find a job. So, you see how it gets worse and worse. This type of overthinking will set you up to worry about unrealistic worst case scenarios. Then you have a different type of overthinking, which is overgeneralizing. This form happens when you base a rule or an expectation for the future on a single random event from the past. Instead of accepting that different outcomes are possible, you might assume that certain things will always or never happen. In this case, overgeneralizing one event from the past to every event in the future often leads to overthinking and worrying about things that might never occur. So let's say, for example, you had to give a speech. One day you went up to stage and you started giving a speech. The speech went horribly. You had stage fright, you couldn't get the words out. Afterwards, you think that this will always happen, and you never ever try to give a speech in public ever again. This is a form of overgeneralizing a single event to think that it will either always or never happen the same way that it happened during the first time. So, what do you do? What do you do when you're overthinking? How do you stop this downward spiral? Number one, you distract yourself. So, rather than sit and think about a problem for endless amounts of time, you can distract yourself for a bit. Research has found that it can be helpful to distract yourself from a stressor by engaging in healthy activities that generate positive emotions. So you might find productive solutions in the background as often we see from insight learning. And what I mean by this is that when we have insight learning, that is the aha moment that we all have, it's just a result of our brains solving the problem in the background while we do different activities, and then the solution finally dawns on you. So this is how your brain may find productive solutions in the background, as we often see from insight learning. Number two, we challenge negative thoughts. Being aware of your thoughts can, like I said, be a game changer. So when we have a negative thought, such as I'm always saying the wrong things, I'm sure people think I'm an idiot, we challenge this thought. We pause, we say, wait a second, let me go back and let me rethink this. Is it true that I'm always saying the wrong things, like 100% of the time? Like I've never said a good thing or a right thing ever in my life? Or has anyone told me that I sound like an idiot? This is how we challenge your thought. And then you have the reframed thought. That is, there are times I could articulate my thoughts more clearly, and I feel frustrated when that happens, but I'm considering taking a speech class at the local college to improve my communication skills. Then being aware of yourself in general can help with stopping a downward spiral. You can increase your self-awareness, boosting your self-confidence, practicing self-control, and learning to be assertive and setting boundaries. These can help with overthinking. Meditation and self-acceptance are other ways you can help overthinking, especially keeping gratitude journals. So just a little bit about gratitude. The subject is something that has interested religious scholars and philosophers since ancient times. Gratitude leads to better sleep, better immunity, higher self-esteem, decreased stress, low blood pressure, and so on. Research also suggests that people who are more grateful are more likely to engage in health-promoting behaviors, including exercising, following their doctor's recommendations, sticking to a healthier lifestyle, a strong support system, and being kind to yourself are also other ways that you can promote a more aware state of mind that can help reduce overthinking. And finally, there's also always the option of getting therapy. So there is a lot of stigma around therapy currently, but as we slowly deteriorating, we find that therapy can actually be really great for people who are struggling with rumination and overthinking. You can try deep breathing, positive visualization, physical activity, and even CBT exercises are some of the tools that your therapist might teach you to help you get over this overthinking and rumination and help you decrease the stress that is in your life. And that is it for today. We have uncovered what overthinking and rumination is. We've looked at the science of overthinking and rumination. We've looked at different ways we can stop this downward spiral and different themes of overthinking and rumination and different kinds of ways we think negatively. So, coming to wrap this up, let me just say that overthinking and rumination is something that we all go through. It's completely natural to feel overwhelmed or sleep deprived and just frustrated in general because you can't help overthinking or rumination. And it is important to practice empathy if you know someone else who's going through it. And if you do know someone else who's going through it, sharing this podcast episode with them can be very helpful if a loved one is struggling with overthinking and rumination. It can also be a sign that they're struggling with something deeper than overthinking and rumination, such as a mental health issue, let's say depression or anxiety. If this is something that you are concerned about with right now, you can always choose to see a professional about it. Again, this episode does not replace professional opinion, and it's always recommended to see a professional if you have a concern. But that is it for today. Have a nice day and just be a little kinder to yourself and to others today, and think about the different ways you can help other people who are overthinking. If you like this episode, please leave a like, a comment down below, or share this episode with someone who you think will benefit from it. That is all for today. Thank you and have a nice day, and we will see you in the next episode of Headspace Diaries.